The mountain did not echo, it listened. When the men entered the cave, their torches did not illuminate the darkness, they disturbed it. Basim's sons pushed forward first, weapons raised, rage blinding them to the unnatural stillness in the air. The stone beneath their boots felt warm, like skin. The scent inside was thick and intoxicating, henna, sugar, and something metallic underneath. At the center of the cavern sat a broken man surrounded by mounds of luminous green powder. Idris. He was skeletal, ancient, barely breathing. His hands pounded dried henna leaves into a mortar with an obsessive rhythm. Thud, thud, thud. Two village girls knelt beside him, swaying gently, eyes rolled back in ecstasy or terror. It was impossible to tell. "Kill him!" one of the men shouted. The torches flared violently, and then the darkness bloomed. They stepped forward from the walls as if the stone itself had given birth to them, the Sharabat al-Henna. Not as shadows, not as smoke, but in full manifestation. Their beauty shattered reason. Their skin glowed like moonlight poured over marble. Their hair, endless, flowing red like molten copper, moved as if underwater, alive and conscious. Their eyes were vast and luminous, galaxies trapped in obsidian. Their lips curved in slow, knowing smiles that promised eternity and ruin in the same breath. No human language could contain their beauty. It was not beauty meant to be admired. It was beauty meant to dominate. They were Marird. In the hierarchy of the Jinn world, Marird were sovereign queens, ancient, aristocratic predators. They commanded armies of lesser spirits. They ruled courts carved from forgotten dimensions. They did not haunt, they possessed, and they were magnificent. One of Basim's sons lowered his weapon without realizing it. Another began to weep. The air thickened like honey. "You came for our husband," one of the red-haired queens said softly. Her voice was silk dragged across bone. "But you entered our palace." The cavern walls rippled. From the cracks emerged their servants, tall, ash-colored beings with elongated limbs and eyeless faces, dozens, then hundreds. They moved in perfect silence. Panic exploded. The men charged. Steel passed through the Marird like mist. But when the queens touched flesh, it became real. One nephew's head twisted backward with a wet crack. Another was lifted into the air, his scream cut short as something invisible entered his mouth and hollowed him from within. His body collapsed like an emptied sack. Blood sprayed across the glowing green powder. The servants descended. Claws tore, spines snapped. The cavern became a slaughterhouse of echoes. Only one man did not move. Hicham stood before Idris, reciting with defiant fury, verses ripping from his throat like burning arrows. The Marir turned toward him, and for the first time, they smiled wider. "You dare," one whispered. "You break contracts sealed before your birth." The servants recoiled from his recitation, but the queens advanced unharmed. Hisham's voice rose higher. The cave trembled. Idris convulsed on the ground, bones cracking, green bile pouring from his mouth. The eldest of the Sharabat stepped forward. Her beauty intensified until the air itself seemed to fracture. She placed her palm against Hisham's chest. The recitation stopped, not because he chose to stop, but because his voice was gone. The queen leaned close, her lips brushing his ear. "You have faith," she whispered. "We prefer courage." And she kissed him. Light exploded. The servants screamed. The remaining men were torn apart in seconds. When the radiance faded, the cave was silent again. The nephews were dead. The servants were gone. Hicham was gone. Only Idris remained. The four Marird stood before him. They were no longer furious. They were radiant. "You are released," one said gently. The green powder lifted from the floor like mist and entered Idris's body. Agony tore through him. His spine straightened, his skin tightened, his beard fell away, wrinkles smoothed, bones strengthened. In moments, the ancient husk of a man became a young man of 20, strong, whole, breathing deeply, reborn. He stared at his hands in disbelief. "Why?" he whispered. The eldest queen stepped closer. "Because you are ours in another way." She smiled. "We take the healer." The cavern darkened. "Hicham walks in our court now." The words cut into Idris's soul. "If you seek to undo what has been done," another queen said softly, "find the one who knows our true names." They stepped backward into the stone. The cavern emptied. Idris ran. He told the story in every city he reached. He spoke of the Marird, red-haired sovereign queens, whose beauty enslaved kings, and whose servants filled caverns like armies. He told of Hicham taken alive into their unseen court. Most called him mad, but those who listened carefully felt something shift in the air when he spoke. Idris never stayed long in one place. Sometimes at night he would see a reflection behind him, a flash of red hair, a smile too perfect. He knew they were watching, waiting. He searched for one name, Rashid, the great master, the only human said to have defeated a Marird and survived. Some claimed he lived in the Atlas Mountains. Others swore he wandered the deserts of Mauritania. Now rumors whisper that he lives somewhere in the north. Idris crosses borders endlessly. Morocco, Spain, France, Germany, always chasing, always running. Sometimes he wakes feeling hands stroking his hair. Sometimes he dreams of a palace carved from black crystal beneath the earth. And in that palace he sees Hicham, alive, unaged, standing beside the red-haired queens, smiling, changed. The last time Hicham was seen, he was boarding a train heading north. On the final page of his book were written trembling words, "If Rashid is in the north, I will find him. If he cannot break the Marird, no one can." That was 3 years ago. Since then, in certain northern towns, there are reports of a young Moroccan man asking about ancient Jinn courts, of red-haired women seen in winter reflections, of sugar carried on frozen air. And sometimes, if the wind moves just right, you can almost hear 4 soft, beautiful voices laughing, not hunting, not chasing, waiting. Because Marird do not lose, they choose. And Idris still does not understand why he was allowed to live.